Welcome back to Sailing the Grand Line. We are starting once again since where we paused last time. A new change is about to come to Kuma's life, and it is about to be epic. So without any further ado, let's get started. 8 years after the God Valley madness, Kuma had gone from warrior of pain to a literal pastor. Yeah, the man was out here healing broken backs and sore knees like a chiropractor with divine powers. The town's old folks were lining up at the church like it was free buffet night, praising his miracle hands. One grandma even said she'd been coming to that church since Kuma's dad was in charge. She thought the whole family disappeared for good, but seeing Kuma back as a good-hearted pastor made her believe his parents were smiling from above. Little did she know, those parents got turned into celestial dragon statistics, straight up erased from history. The elders were begging Kuma to open up healing services during the week, too. But just then, in stormed Ginny like a boss, stomping her feet and shutting it all down. "He only works Saturdays," she barked. "Y'all freeloaders don't even pay. This ain't a hospital." The old folks were dying. Laughing, that is. One Japanese granny said Ginny had a filthy mouth but was absolutely gorgeous. And let's be real, gorgeous is putting it lightly. Her mom? Certified baddie? The town's dudes were apparently lining up like lottery tickets trying to wife her up, but she turned everyone down because she already had her eye on one guy, Kuma. That made her blush so hard she basically ejected them from the church with her embarrassment. Later, one old woman said she'd pay Kuma if she could, but the celestial dragon taxes were brutal, and things were about to get worse, because the new king of the Sorbet Kingdom was King Biori, an absolute demon of a ruler. Cold, cruel, and licking the celestial dragon's boots like it was his day job. Word on the street was that one guy got locked up and starved to death. Literally no food in prison under this king's reign. If you're poor and sick, tough luck, you might as well start planning your funeral. Ginny was holding back tears, but Kuma, being the goat he is, said he'd still help them. Light pains, small aches, he'd take it all every Saturday. And to thank him, the broke townsfolk made him a carrot cake. Man said it was better than heaven. But that night, Kuma was dying. The pain he'd absorbed from all the townsfolk turned into a giant swirling orb of agony. And like Zoro taking Luffy's pain in Thriller Bark, Kuma stepped into it without hesitation. The church itself looked like it was about to blow up. Kuma took it all, every single ounce, because if he didn't, the pain would go back to the old folks. Afterward, the man was a wreck, barely breathing, practically broken. Ginny couldn't take it. She asked why he was doing this, saying those people had no idea how much he was suffering. Kuma just smiled and said, "If someone doesn't take the pain, it goes back to the people. I don't want that. I'm happy when they're happy." Ginny said he didn't need to be stronger, he needed to stop hurting himself. But when he told her the old folks gave them food as thanks, her mood did a 180. First bite of a ham sandwich and she was floating in the clouds. Then Kuma asked if she wanted to go somewhere with him the next day, just the two of them. They planned a little riverside barbecue, a peaceful moment in a world that rarely gives any. Fast forward 5 years and everything was chill. Ginny, looking like a full-on Disney princess. Kuma, built like an Electrolux double-door fridge with an ice dispenser. They were sipping coffee by the river, admiring a rainbow, when Ginny suddenly went, "Let's get married." Straight up. Kuma turned beet red, heart doing backflips. Ginny threw hearts into the air like Cupid with a machine gun, saying, "I know you love me. I promise I'll make you happy." Kuma replied gently, "I know that." But inside he was haunted. His mother was killed just for marrying a buccaneer. He couldn't let that happen to Ginny. So instead of answering, he tried to change the subject, saying he'd seen some news about the Revolutionary Army. Kuma once said he wanted to dedicate his life to saving others, just like Nika, the legendary warrior of liberation. And on a quiet morning, just as he was dreaming about that path, there was a knock at the door. He thought it was just another visitor looking for treatment at the crack of dawn. But instead, 3 old men stood outside holding a basket full of freshly caught fish, a humble thank you gift. Jenny stormed in and smacked Kuma upside the head with a wash basin, tears brimming in her eyes. The old men chuckled, teasing that she must be upset Kuma still wouldn't marry her. And they were right, she was. She loved him deeply, but he kept pushing her away. 3 more years passed, and then disaster struck the Sorbet Kingdom. Suddenly, all the town's elders were being arrested. No explanation, no mercy, just chains and fear. Kuma arrived just in time, demanding to know what was going on. But the guards sneered, drawing their swords and daring him to challenge the will of the royal army. The townspeople, paralyzed by terror, couldn't even beg for help. The soldiers declared it a new law. The people of the southern region were to be worked to death. Kuma's blood boiled. Memories of his parents, their suffering, their death, all of it surged to the surface. "Are we being enslaved again?" he asked, voice trembling with fury. Then, boom! A glowing paw strike launched one of the guards into the wall. Kuma moved like lightning, striking them down one after another, never once harming a single civilian. But the kingdom wasn't done. The guards called for a purge. The elderly weren't just to be enslaved, they were to be wiped out. Kuma stood firm and summoned a massive paw, covering half the city. "I won't allow it," he declared, and launched it, erasing the soldiers into a brilliant flash. Ironically, this was exactly what the twisted King Byorri wanted. He saw the elderly as a drain, worthless mouths who couldn't pay taxes. To him, this massacre was nothing but efficiency. Kuma was captured, and not just him, Ginny and the others too. Kuma, shackled and furious, demanded to know why they'd been imprisoned. Ginny only laughed. "You think I'd let you face them alone?" she said. But even she admitted they'd been beaten badly. Kuma pounded the ground in rage. "How can they do this? Enslave people just for being from the south?" Ginny reminded him that this kingdom was nothing but a puppet. They're just dogs for the celestial dragons. Fight the kingdom, and you fight the world government. Then chaos erupted. Armed forces attacked the Sorbet kingdom. The palace sounded the alarm, but too late. A large-headed man emerged from the shadows, vowing the king wouldn't escape judgment this time. The revolutionary army had arrived. Thanks to them, the kingdom avoided full-on enslavement. As the dust settled, the prison doors opened. The strange, balloon-headed man who led the charge turned out to be Emporio Ivankov. He'd come after hearing about Kuma and Ginny's imprisonment. But what truly shocked them was seeing the man behind them. Monkey D. Dragon, the leader of the revolutionary army, the most wanted man in the world, Luffy's father. He looked Kuma straight in the eye and said, "I've heard of you. I want you to join us." Kuma and Ginny were stunned, but in their hearts they knew they had nothing left to protect but the people and everything left to fight for. The two agreed. Thus began the official birth of the Revolutionary Army, born in the aftermath of the Ohara tragedy, fueled by rage and injustice. Dragons said they were short on money, but they'd train anyone who had the will to stand against tyranny. Kuma asked if he could fight well enough. That's when Dragon revealed he used to be in the Navy, but he left because their justice was a lie. Kuma and Ginny pledged their loyalty. But before leaving for good, Kuma returned to his old church. The elders wept as he promised to come visit when he could. Time passed. Ginny rose through the ranks and became captain of the eastern forces of the Revolutionary Army. Her name became known across the seas. One day, she sang Kuma's name with joy, knowing she'd reunite with him tomorrow. Her crewmates teased her. Everyone's crush was Kuma. But Ginny just told them to get real. She was out of their league. Then, everything fell apart. A man showed up. Dragon received an urgent report. Ginny had been abducted. It was a trap. They never saw it coming. The moment Kuma heard it, it felt like his heart had been torn out. He gasped for air, gritting his teeth, unable to believe it. In the next episode, we'll witness Kuma completely lose control. He's going to unleash hell, wiping out an entire army in his wrath. 2 years passed, without any sign of Ginny. Then suddenly, contact. Kuma, who had all but lost hope, rushed to her aid. But when he finally reached her, he found something unexpected. We have come to the end of this one. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay with us. See you in the next one.